Could there be something living inside the Earth? What if there is another civilization deep under the Earth's core? A scientist named Edmund Halley presented the theory that the Earth is hollow in the 17th century, but it was not until Admiral Richard Byrd, a polar explorer, flew over Antarctica, claiming that he saw a hole in the Earth. And like with all of his previous travels, he documented all of his discoveries in his personal diary. Later on, they discovered his diary, and he describes what he observed. He explains how he saw a literal city inside the hole of the Earth. However, when he returned from his journey, he was ordered not to speak about it, and therefore we will most likely never know what he truly witnessed. So, are they trying to hide something from us? And
we have to talk about this. In the 17th century, there was a British astronomer and scientist named Edmund Halley. He presented a theory that there was like an Earth within our own Earth. This theory has clearly stretched back for hundreds of years, right? With many people genuinely believing that there is a portal or an opening to this kind of place in Antarctica. Now, this particular suspicion comes from the concept that the government will not allow people to travel to Antarctica at all under any circumstances. However, in the early 1900s, there was a polar expedition led by pioneer Richard Byrd, actually did travel to Antarctica. It's been speculated for nearly 100 years that this man kept diary entries that did apparently mention that there was a portal or an opening to an underground world within our own. Considering the fact that there was actually a giant sinkhole found in China that contained an ancient forest with undiscovered species of trees and a vast opening that looks like the sun inside this little world. Now I'd like to show you a clip of a pilot that seems to come across a lake that contains actually warm water in the middle of Antarctica. Check it out.
Bunger leans forward in amazement. His eyes have caught a sudden and unbelievable change in scenery. The universal white has turned to chocolate brown dotted with blue. A cameraman goes into action. 300 square miles of land without snow. Land that might be in New Mexico or Arizona. Pictures alone prove Bunger has discovered a warm oasis in the shadow of the moon. It is for such supreme moments as this that men brave the hardships of exploration. The astounding, undreamed of fact is that they are over a chain of warm water lakes, whose shores, except for small patches, are free of ice and snow. Commander Bunger circles the largest lake in sight, 5 miles long. He comes in to make a landing. Water temperatures must be recorded. Samples taken. He finds the water fresh. Temperature 38 degrees Fahrenheit. On the shores are vast deposits of coal and of minerals of the utmost importance to civilization.
Now, a lot of people claim that this type of thing supports the reason as to why the government will not allow access for humans to travel to Antarctica. Now, some people are actually going to the lengths of claiming that this is actually the lost city of Atlantis. I don't know. But as you can see, there have been huge claims throughout history that Antarctica leads to a portal to another world within our own, including references in movies like Godzilla vs. Kong, where he literally falls through a portal in Antarctica to Hollow Earth. I know this is just a movie, but as I said, theories like this have dated back to the 17th century. In fact, we genuinely have found mini worlds within our own. Just recently, a lot of people all over the internet claiming that this could be actually real. To mention this really creepy footage claiming to be of Deception Island, which is located near the Antarctic Peninsula, which shows a large creepy figure inside what looks like a black lake. What do you think?
Okay, so remember the guy who created the hollow earth theory?
Yeah.
Okay, so the guy, Admiral Byrd, flew over Antarctica and claims to see a hole in the earth. And they actually found his diary, and he actually explains in detail what he saw. So he wrote in his flight log, when he was flying over Antarctica, he actually saw green mountain ranges. And next to the mountain range, he saw like green valleys with a river going through it.
How is there green mountain ranges in the middle of the Arctic?
Exactly. So he said there's a lot of grass and a lot of green hills. And he even claims that he saw a woolly mammoth there. And the thermometer in inside his plane said that the temperature was 74 degrees Fahrenheit in the Arctic. And I don't know how he explains this, but he said that he saw a literal city inside the hole of the earth. And when he came back from his journey, he was forced not to talk about it and will probably never know what he actually saw.
Well, he was given the Medal of Honor, and no one knows why.
Exactly. But relating to that, have you seen the crazy sinkhole they found in China?
There's been a mysterious sinkhole that appeared in Chile. It's reported amongst one of the deepest sinkholes discovered worldwide at 656 feet deep. Now, just a few months ago, there was also a sinkhole in China. This sinkhole was 630 feet deep, had a well-preserved primitive forest with trees that grew up to 130 feet tall. The leader of this expedition stated that he wouldn't be surprised to know that there are species found in these caves that haven't been discovered by scientists. Now, I'm kind of glad that things like this and UFO sightings are starting to come to surface more, because it's solidifying one of my favorite theories. Every day, scientists are discovering things that justify that there might be another world within our world. Back in 2014, scientists discovered a reservoir of water that's over 400 miles beneath the Earth's surface, all thanks to a mineral called ringwoodite. This was discovered because of a volcanic eruption in Brazil. This water-bearing mineral is only found deep within the Earth, and it proved that there's a lot more water to be found. That within Earth's mantle lies enough water to fill each ocean on the surface 3 times over. Genesis 7:11 mentions how the fountains of the great deep broke loose during the great flood. The book of Enoch mentions how the flood was a punishment for the giants who were left inside of the earth. Isn't it interesting that all ancient cultures reference a great flood, as well as giants? Admiral Byrd mentions how he was exploring Antarctica and how he stumbled across a tropical land that led him inside of the earth. So is there another world beneath our feet? Or is there another world beyond the ice wall?
What is going on beneath Antarctica? In 1995, a naval engineer stationed at the McMurdo Station in Antarctica revealed that he had been covering up something this whole time. Well, you see, while transporting supplies and crew members to sites around Antarctica, he and his crew reported seeing circular crafts flying about an area called Beardmore Glacier. However, they were never allowed to investigate further, as the area around it was supposed to be a no-fly zone. On one occasion, they received an emergency immediate extraction for an injured crew member. The captain knew they wouldn't make it if they used conventional flying routes, and decided to fly through the Beardmore Glacier to pick up the casualty. However, upon entering the no-fly zone, they saw a giant hole the size of a football field that led below the ice. Eventually, they rescued the injured crew member, but upon returning to McMurdo Station, they were met by a man dressed in all black that told them, "What you saw at the pole, you did not see. You do not talk about this because you never saw it."
Ever been to Agartha? Agartha is a lost ancient kingdom mentioned in Hindu and Tibetan folklore. Agartha can be found in the center of the earth, a peaceful heavenly kingdom where righteous people live in peace and prosperity.
Have you heard about the Agartha Network conspiracy theory? It's the idea that the Earth is hollow and a secret society called the Agartha Network lives inside. They supposedly have advanced technology and supernatural powers, and control major events in human history from underground. Some people even believe the entrance to their world is in Antarctica. But there's no scientific evidence to support this theory, and it's widely regarded as a conspiracy with no basis in fact. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.
The squadron flew under the Earth, into the Earth.
It turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his extraordinary story. He tells how all of a sudden he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city that's made of crystal. His airplane is taken control of when he suddenly sees these flying disc-shaped objects around them that lead him to the ground. Whereupon he's escorted into a cavernous type of an area where he meets a being he refers to as the Master in his diary. The Master tells him that they're highly disappointed in what humans are doing with nuclear weapons and how they've recently destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And they really are concerned about what is going on the surface of the planet. They tell Admiral Byrd that they hope that humanity will ultimately stop.
We have the famous story of Norwegian fisherman Olaf Jansen and his father, where in 1829 his boat drifted into the hollow earth while on a sailing trip. They were apparently greeted and lived with giants for 2 years, finding grapes the size of oranges and peaches the size of footballs. They rode in free energy vehicles and lived amongst these beings that lived for 800 years. A beautiful story with many twists and turns, but when Olaf returned to the Earth's surface and when he told their stories, he was put into a mental institution. It was only on his deathbed he felt he could tell his story.
In the year 2000, the Cave of Crystals was discovered by miners excavating a tunnel for a mine in Mexico. The main chamber contains some of the largest natural crystals ever found in any underground cave. The largest one so far, measuring about 36 feet in length and weighs over 55 tons. The amazingly huge quartz in this subterranean cave have become this large because of the extremely hot temperatures inside of the underground cavern, and this encourages microscopic crystals to form, rapidly growing much faster than we're used to seeing in cooler locations. Just gazing at these gigantic, beautiful crystals, one can't help but get carried away imagining what else awaits further exploration deeper inside these caves.